Hi, my name is Lindsay Burns, and I wanted to make you really think about the people who you consider a leader. I am going to be asking you a few questions, and I want you to think about the people you have met so far in your lives. My first question is, what does a leader look like to you? Is it someone who looks strong? Do they seem intelligent? Is it a male or a female? Are they attractive? These are all descriptions about what someone looks like. Their appearance is important to them. Someone's appearance can trick the mind into thinking, I want to follow this person. They want you to believe that the image they are giving off is something an ordinary person could not accomplish. However, is that really true?
I'd like to focus on one specific aspect that almost all leaders have in common. It is the suit. No, not the supersuit, but the formal wear that all leaders and those in high positions wear on a daily basis. The suit is worn by both men and women. It is an easily acquirable article of clothing that can be purchased anywhere. So why is it something that is so important to those in high positions? Because dressing formally makes the business look more professional. Have you ever heard the saying, the suit makes the man? Well, to some extent, it is true. In a survey, more than 85% of people selected suit, tie, and dress shoes as business professional. This shows that almost everyone has the same stereotypical view that the perfect business-ready person. I want to crush this view of the perfect businessman and explain to you that the looks and charm are not the only thing that matter. Many people think that the words leader and superior are synonymous in meaning, but this is not always the case. A leader is someone who can not just command a group of people, but can also listen and communicate effectively with accuracy and respect. However, superior people could just simply mean that they have a higher ranking than you, even if they did not deserve that title. You could say that a leader will always be superior to you in that they know what to do and when to do it, and can delegate instructions to you when needed. But all superiors are not leaders. They will look to leaders to do their jobs for them. A few examples of this could be when America held slaves in the country. To slaves, Caucasian whites who captured and forced them to work were their superiors. Slaves were told what to do without the communication that was needed, which led to exhaustion and malnutrition. However, those who helped slaves escape through communication and instruction, like Harriet Tubman, were their leaders who allowed them to become free. Another more dated example of the difference between superior and leader was during the Tang dynasties of China. After the emperor passed away, his son was too young to rule, so the concubine, Wu Tang, ruled China from the shadows. It was taboo for women to rule China, so the son acted as the superior figurehead while Wu Tang led China from behind. The Tang dynasty had some of its most glorious years under Wu Tang's leadership. Now you know what the difference is between a leader and a superior, but how can you tell this difference just by looking at them? The problem is you can't. The stereotype that people are better in formal clothing is something that the world wouldn't be able to overcome easily. A social experiment was done to see if people actually judged others based on their looks. A little girl was dressed up in both rich clothing and in poor clothing. She was then put alone on the streets to see how people reacted when she went up to them. Unsurprisingly, when she was dressed in rich people attire, people tried helping her find her parents and gave her food. On the other hand, when she was dressed in poor attire, people shunned her and told her to go away, eventually making her cry, so they had to stop the experiment. This was the same girl, but because of the way that she was dressed, people treated her differently. So the next question is, if they're dressed the same, do we treat them the same? The answer is, of course, no. People have to look further into what a person has done and what they have accomplished in their years to truly understand who is a leader and who is just acting superior. In order to do this, let's take a quick look at speech. I will be focusing on the presidential elections and more specifically on their speech patterns. This bar graph shows the vocabulary and grammar levels of the presidents. On the y-axis, you can see the grade level, and on the x-axis, the president's name. As you can see, Trump and Bush have some of the lowest scores for vocabulary and grammar. Lincoln and Reagan have some of the highest scores, with Lincoln's grammatical record yet to be beaten. I believe out of all these presidents, Lincoln showed the most leadership in his time. He is mostly known for keeping the Union together, which in turn kept the United States from breaking up entirely. He also helped end slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation and eventually ended slavery with the 13th Amendment. On top of that, he was not just a figurehead that stood on top, but he made decisions for his country during one of the most crucial times in history. Then you can compare Abraham Lincoln's achievements with those of what Trump declares to do. Of course, Trump has only been in office for a few months now, so it would be unfair to compare him with someone who was in the same position for longer. But what has he accomplished? He's been in Florida longer than he's been in the White House, and he has been handing off his duties as president to his advisors. The general public believe that Trump is just a figurehead and that his daughter Ivanka Trump and son-in-law Jared Kushner are the true leaders to our country. Trump just recently told Kushner that he was to reform the federal government and broker peace between the Middle East. Kushner is also one of Trump's unofficial political campaign managers and is among Trump's select group of advisors. There is a difference between asking for advice and pushing a task onto someone. In Trump's case, it's making his son-in-law fix the United States government and at the same time create peace between the Middle East while he goes golfing in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Between Trump and G.W. Bush. Both of their grammatical scores are the lowest out of all the presidents on the chart. Another score they have in common is their low popularity score. Bush and Trump both had problems with their popularity while running for office. With both losing the popular vote and both having fifth-grade grammar levels, it's hard to believe that they could be considered leaders of the country. But according to looks, they are. They both wear suits and ties, and they stand above us all. So, would you consider someone a leader based just on their looks, or would you get to know them better? And even if they wore sweats with a t-shirt, could